Please welcome to the show, America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. Dan, thanks for taking the time. Why don't you give us your thoughts? I mean, this has been one we've been missing on. The last three we've actually missed on. ADP's been all over the place. What are your thoughts?
How about this one, Scott? Do these numbers even matter at this point? Well, when we think about this, first of all, by the time we get them, they're in the rear view. So how much value is there going forward? That's number one. Number two, what it does do is it gets everybody related to the market all emotional. So now we have the markets reacting to something that's already happened and may be meaningless going forward. So I have no expectations for the job numbers. Whatever they are, they are. What I'll tell you is this: we need more people going back to work. We have far more jobs than we have people available to do them, and we still have millions of people on unemployment. None of that makes sense to me. So that's how I feel about it, Scott.
All right, then I'm going to throw a curveball at you because I don't know. I don't have an answer to this question. And I just dug this one up earlier this morning. But since the spring of 2021, we've lost 33 million workers from the workforce. I mean, that's a huge number. And we're talking now about hoping to get 157,000 or 175,000. I mean, that seems to me a little bit like a suitcase on the Queen Mary, as my father would say. Where do we lose 33 million workers? Basically, since the spring of 2021, we've lost 33 million workers. Where do they go? What's happening out there?
It's really hard to say, Scott. Look, a lot of people have been trying to figure this out, me included. What I would think is that there are a lot of people, baby boomers perhaps, who have just said, you know what, I've had enough. The pandemic basically scared them out of the workplace. They said, look, if I'm going to go down, it's not going to be sitting at my desk. It's going to be sitting at a beach. So I think really we've had an enormous amount of retirement. And then I think there's a lot of people who simply said, I'm going to sit on the sideline for a while. I have enough money to live. Life is too short. Let's wait for the pandemic to pass, and then I'll reevaluate what to do. But you're right. 33 million people dropping out of the workforce is an enormous number, and certainly not something you can make up for anytime soon.
And to your point, Dan, and I've said this 100 times, if I've said it 1,000, I mean, we have a psychological issue not on our hands, right? It's no longer a physical issue with the COVID, with the pandemic and COVID. I mean, we scared the American electorate so bad in 2020. I mean, I'll never forget that feeling watching, Mark Cuban get hear on air that they canceled the NBA season, and then watch them cancel the NCAA tournament and see what that did to these markets and see what that everyday death count did to these folks. I think you're right. I think a lot of people said, look, this life is too short. I'm not going to sit around and watch these numbers go up and be part of those numbers. If I am part of the number, I'll be either at a beach or at a bar. And I think that's a large part of the problem. And now that horse has left the barn because now we have a psychological problem and we can't really turn it around. You know what I mean?
No, it's not easy to turn around. Not when you spend a couple of years. I don't want to use the word brainwashing, but I'll use it. Brainwashing people
right.
that they're going to die if they go outside, if they don't wear a mask, if they do this or do that. So you scare the devil out of them. And then you start to wonder, well, we can't get people back to work and we have inflation and you have all these consequences that no one thought about. Listen, I understand that the primary point is to keep people safe. There's no question about it. But we're 2 years into this thing. Haven't we learned anything at all at this point? There's got to be a better way than just completely sacrificing the economy.
Well, Denmark just gave up on all restrictions and all vaccinations, so maybe we're not far behind. All right, I'm going to change gears real quick. If you were lucky enough to make money in this market last year, because it was all over the place, you've got to pay taxes this year, and I'm seeing these reports about you have to get out in front and pay these taxes early. There might be some issues with the IRS. What's going on?
Well, there's a couple of things here. First, the question becomes, are we going to have tax increases? And that's really all part of Build Back Better. Is that going to get passed? I don't think so. Are some parts of it going to get passed? Perhaps. And if they do, Scott, taxes are going to have to go along with that. So many people are thinking Well, taxes won't be as low in the future as they are today, at least under the current administration. So perhaps now is the time to take some of those winnings off the table, those gains, right, and pay the tax now and then figure out what to do later. At the same time, the other side of everything here is that the IRS is completely overwhelmed and understaffed. Now, I'm going to say something that's unpopular, but I know a guy like you is not concerned about being unpopular. The IRS, Scott, does not have enough resources. And I know no one wants to see them get funded so they could audit everybody. Fine, I get that. They don't have enough people to do their jobs. And what's going to happen is that people start filing their tax returns. They're going to be waiting on those refunds. So what I want to tell everybody is try to get out in front of that issue. File electronically as quickly as you possibly can this season.
So that's really for those out there that are expecting a refund, because Dan, I had my identity stolen, and the only way that the IRS found out about it was because they asked for a refund, of which I have not had since 1984. So I've always got to owe something at the end. All right, that's great advice. Thank you very much. America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. Thanks for being on the show today, Dan. Great stuff. All right, here.